protesting today. No,
you're
no,
not gonna do it.
no engine noises.
Are you
Nope.
you're gonna pull a Mercedes and bring your lawyer to the protest meeting? Like that's got to be funny.
I should. I
I mean,
should.
because Christian Horner, like he must be champagne soaked when he showed up to that meeting. Like probably well into a couple of drinks already, and then they're actually bringing their lawyer to protest when there nothing was going to happen, right? I mean, just
Uh, it,
just a clown
it
show.
it is weird that you bring your lawyer to the race and to the appeal right there.
Yeah, he
However,
was ready to go. Yeah, that's a good point. He was ready to go. Like their legal
however,
counsel was ready.
the German, I don't know what even to call it, but the German, way of doing business and management,
Yeah.
maybe it makes sense. But I'm at a loss of words. I don't even know what to say, man. That race was bullshit.
Oh,
What
I
do you
mean,
think?
um, it just it seemed so normal for the first whatever 48 laps or so, and then
Mhm.
it just went all strange after that. Like it just they decided that this wasn't crazy, like it wasn't the finish that they wanted, right? Just
Right.
the because if you think about that, up to lap 50 or so, kind of a boring race, right? Not, I mean, there was a little bit of tension early on, with when they were going to pit, and one stop versus two stop. But after that kind of settled down, it was going to be pretty boring. So then it just went all crazy at the end, and I think unnecessary. Um, I uh, I don't know what Mercedes was thinking, to be honest. Like the whole race, it seemed like they knew Lewis was going to either win it or lose it, right? They put all the pressure on him. The team did, and the team just screwed it up. Like they had no pit strategy whatsoever, right?
They did not. And like, let's start from the beginning, right? That Lewis and Verstappen fight. I think it turned 5 or 6, right? Right in the beginning of
Yeah,
the
right in the
the
beginning.
track. What do you think about that? Like,
Okay,
because,
so
all right, go
like,
ahead. Give me your opinion.
Max was never going to make that corner. He was never going to make that move, even though like, it's so. Actually, I have to give credit to you because you've been pretty consistent that you said that he's too immature. He still has much farther to go to become a great race car driver, and that right there proved it to me because he was never going to make that corner. The outcome was going to be either a crash or somebody was going to get a penalty, or in the case of Lewis, like Lewis bails and has to get vindication from the stewards not looking into it. Max was never going to make that corner. Those kind of moves are that's just not really racing because yeah, you got next to him, but it was because you made a move that wasn't going to work, right? So I don't respect those kind of racing moves. Again, it's like the Nico Rosberg playbook of, well, I own the corner if I get there. Yeah, but if you get there and
But
you're not going to make the corner, like what
but
good?
even Nico, like at one point, it started to mature and be
Yeah,
less chaotic.
yeah,
But like you said, he wasn't gonna make that corner. He basically went straight to the corner before turning
yes,
left, right? He,
yes,
he made a triangle out of that corner.
yep,
Uh,
yep.
so he did this, right? And
And his goal was to go out to the edge of the racing line, right? Like to go to the white line. It wasn't to make the apex
oh
and
no,
hold
absolutely
and
not,
hold the
because
apex. Absolutely not.
Lewis had the apex and the racing line, right? He just came on Lewis's blind spot. Lewis started to turn left, saw Max, went off to avoid a crash. I don't understand why they even told him to reduce the gap again, because in my view at least, Max was to blame because he
Yeah,
was the one that forced that
yeah,
situation, right?
yeah.
Good thing they didn't do anything. I think I even tweeted about that. I think it was kind of a payback or whatever you want to call from Brazil, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, which again, Max was the guilty party here, but somehow people spun as Lewis being at fault because he went off the track. He was
No,
just trying to avoid a crash. But
no.
anyway,
I mean, you can, yeah, you can't drive your competitors off the track and then say that that was a fair pass, right? I mean, he wouldn't allow someone to do that to him. And I guess the only thing I had a little bit of problem with, I do think Max or sorry, Lewis did get a little bit more advantage than he probably would have had going through that corner. Because if you back it up to before Max makes that move, he's
mhm.
probably only behind by, I don't know, 7 or 8 tenths. I don't think he's a full second behind at that point. And then afterwards, he's 1.1, 1.2 seconds behind. So I think Lewis did get some advantage
Right.
from it, but not enough to make it. At the end, he was going to pull away from it anyway. So I don't think anything was lost overall. But
But here's the
that's the
thing:
only thing I think was legitimate.
even this is not scientific,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah, it's
It's
hand
just
weight,
like, oh,
sure.
reduce the gap. What does that mean? You know,
Mhm.
like, hey, if you think he did something wrong, penalize him. Otherwise, like, oh, I'm gonna allow you to reduce the gap. I'm gonna allow you to, change positions during the red flag, like the previous race. This back and forth, like this soft rules or soft interpretation of the rules, is what bothers me.
Yeah,
And again, all teams agree on the rules, or all teams sign on the rules, right? FIA signs, Formula One signs. I think the team should take a hard look at it and harden those rules as to not give people, or the racing director, the future race director, which I hope Michael Massey gets
yeah. I
fired and
mean,
gets
yeah,
replaced.
he
No,
has to
the
be
the next the next
just
race director doesn't
for
have
him.
any margin for interpretation.
Just for him saying what he called it, it's a motor race. Like, just
Yeah,
no
oh,
one
right.
has ever said, no one's ever said those words in quite that way before, and like he should be fired just on that alone.
Yeah.
It's a motor race. Like, he's so terrible. He was so awful today.
Yeah,
Um,
and hey, I try to put myself in his shoes. Like, it's split second decisions, right? The same way that drivers are driving like 300 miles an hour
no,
or whatever. Like, he needs to decide that very quickly, because if not, he needs to defer to the stewards. So
yeah,
yeah, but he's being put in that situation, right, as well, because the rules are up for interpretation. He's interpreting very wrong, or in a very screwed up manner. But
no.
it's like he's 98% at fault, but there's that 2% of the rules being poorly written,
Well,
or not hardened enough.
as we know with Bottas, pressure makes diamonds, or in the case of Bottas, pressure makes just silly putty, just mush, because that is what he was today. I mean, I'll leave it for another day, but
I mean,
geez,
I
wouldn't it be nice if Lewis actually had a teammate? I
uh,
mean, Checo
Checo was
did
great.
everything they asked him to do.
Yep.
I mean, Max was right when he praised him after the race, and he said Checo is a great teammate. He did no questions asked. He did everything that he was asked to do.
Yesterday and today, right? The toll
Yeah, well, yeah.
yesterday, today at the race. Checo did more this race than Bottas did the entire season. Like, in terms of helping Hamilton.
Kelly Piquet did more this weekend than than Bottas did. And let me just say, I mean, you and I were talking about before. Did she not rock that outfit she was in? I mean, props to her. I mean,
Yeah, start with the simping here. Right? Just stop it.
hey,
Stop it.
it's not my fault. She looked great. Uh, what do you want me? What do you want me to do about it?
Okay, so they have that scuff. Nothing happens. Then lap 11, right? Max pits. Is it 11 or 12? It's something like that. It's early tens, right?
I thought it was. I thought it was 12 or 13. We can
Yeah,
look it up.
I said 12 or
Accuracy
11.
doesn't matter. Yeah, accuracy doesn't matter here.
Like, it's like clockwork, right? Red Bull stopped. Mercedes did the next lap. Like, when are they gonna stand by their fucking? Like, I'm assuming they spend hours
They're,
of human resources and computer
they pace them.
resources
Yeah,
to come up with a strategy,
yeah.
and everything
They
goes
pace
down
somebody.
the drain because Red Bull stopped at lap 12. It's like, stick to your fucking balls. Like, had you had had you not have balls for the last 7 seasons, what's going on? Like
I
the first season you get a little bit of a challenge, you start second guessing yourself. Like what the heck? What was
just
that?
unbelievable that they make a plan. We assumed that they had some plan, either a plan A or a plan B, and just they throw it right out the window. Like the moment something in the race changed, or maybe they didn't expect Lewis to be in the lead at that point, but then to just be reactionary when you were on the preferred tire, right, for the initial stint. They were on the mediums. As far as I know, their tire deg was fine. I don't think the undercut was super powerful. I mean, maybe it was, but I think that's where you put it in Lewis's hands and you say, okay, go hammer time for 3 or 4
Right.
laps to try to stretch it out as much as you can, because really the first stint, as I said the other day, like it should be Lewis has to push Max on the softs, push him to the point of deg, and
Right.
then you just have to put in
Manage
good
it.
lap times,
Yeah.
and then it pays off later on the road, because at the end of the race you'll have fresher tires. And then
Exactly.
what we see with Mercedes is that they said, no,
We
we
play
don't need
super safe. We
yeah
play
we
super safe.
we don't need strategy. We have Lewis Hamilton, which it, now, to be fair, like without that safety car at the end, he wins that race. He wins it for them. Mercedes does nothing that's
Well, here's the
100%
thing. Here's
his
the
race. But you can't think that way, right? You can't plan on he's going to bail you out every
But the
time
thing
you make a
is
dumb
that,
decision.
I disagree, because the thought process, not even we have Lewis Hamilton. The thought process, we're gonna do whatever Red Bull does, and this way, if they screw up, we screw up.
Mhm.
And that's my problem, because they saw Max had hard tires after the stop. It's like basic common sense. Let's stretch Hamilton, I don't know, up to lap 20,
Yeah,
or up to 22, whatever, 10 more laps. Then we put on hard tires. We have a 10 lap, no,
exactly.
newer tire than Verstappen, and we can go to the end. But
Yeah.
no, let's match it. And then the succession of errors, right? They didn't
Yes. Yes.
they
No,
didn't pit
didn't
on
didn't act on
the
the VSC, right? The
VSC.
first
He
one. Yep.
didn't didn't
Didn't
didn't
act
do
on
the
the
VSC.
second one.
Well, in their defense, right? I think Hamilton was past the box entrance when the
Yeah,
safety car came out.
it would have been very, very close. Yeah.
Right.
And
So
it ended just before he had a chance to go in, because there was a possibility that he could have, so after Max had pitted under safety car, that Lewis could have came back around and pitted and maybe been okay, but it was ending just as he was coming to the main straight
still,
there.
even if it was very close, or Max was in front, he would have no soft tires, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or medium, whatever Max had. I think
Just
Max had mediums, right? When he stopped for virtual safety car.
no, I think he
No, it
went
was a new set of
soft,
hard.
or hards. Yeah, yeah,
New
hards.
set of
Yeah,
hards. Still,
yeah,
like he would
yeah,
have like fresher tires, with an engine, with a car that we knew was faster.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, yeah, it was a
That's,
gamble, but you gotta be risky. Like, you did this a week ago and it worked.
mhm.
So why again?
Yeah,
Mercedes
just
did everything they could to lose the race.
yeah, yeah. It was just playing scared, right? Just scared of that they'd actually have to race there at the end.
Right.
And yeah, so we kind of already mentioned it. It comes down to that final safety car. So your boy Latifi pitches into the wall. A
Uh,
great send off
just one thing.
for the year for him.
Who
Yeah,
who caused the accident with Latifi?
Latifi,
No, but who caused the accident?
Latifi,
Uh-uh.
Nikki. Yeah, Nikki.
Uh,
As far as I know, Nikki was in the cockpit, right?
Mick Schumacher
Oh,
bumped
come on.
into Latifi, and Latifi hit the
Oh,
wall.
come on.
So Schumacher again, he fucked it up on quali, and hit the bollards, right? On
Yeah, that's true.
qualifying, and caused a red flag, and then he caused Latifi to crash in the wall.
You make it seem like there's a reason that Haas scored 0 points this year.
I know,
Like,
right?
yeah,
So
it's very
coincidental.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a coincidence. Yeah,
Here's the thing: if had Mazepin been racing,
Mhm.
that would probably never happen because like Mick would be fighting with Mazepin for
Oh,
last.
that yeah, they would have been they would have been so far off the pace, it would have never
Exactly.
happened. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. That's a good point.
So yeah, so Latifi crashes, and then it takes forever for them to take a decision, right? I think
Yeah.
I think VSC could be enough, but I understand why they went safety car, but there were other options, right? They could have
No,
red
no,
flag.
yeah, yeah. The choice. I honestly thought they would red flag because they want to save enough laps, and actually,
Right.
as much as blatant as it would have been that that's what they were trying to do, at least at least you can defend that and say like we want to give fans 4 laps at the end for the both because both teams are going to put on fresh tires, right? Because you can change tires under the red flag and say let's just have a shootout at the end. And actually, to me, that would have been preferred because
Oh yeah.
even though you allow Max to close up, you'd say, look, you both had a chance to put on tires. You're in the same lap, same position on the track now. The lapped cars are out of the way. Let's do a 3 or 4 lap, shootout at the end. That
Right.
actually would have been the correct ending. And then whoever wins, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Instead of what we got was sort of this orchestrated a fiasco. Fiasco. How are you? That's your hashtag. How are we supposed to say that one?
It's just a fiasco. It is a fiasco. But let's dissect it, right?
Okay.
They went with safety car, and
Yep.
then they say, "Hey, no cars will not unlap."
And I went back and checked, like, because Lando, I checked his radio. Said they told Lando like you're not going to be allowed to pass, and then the lights on the safety car changed because they flashes a green light,
Mhm.
and then Lando tells the pits, he's like, "Hey, the lights changed, like it's telling me to go around," and then they told him, "Yeah, they want you to pass." And the same thing they told Max. They said, "Okay, cars are not going to be allowed to unlap
Right.
them."
Right.
And actually, to Max's credit, he was thinking well before that. He said, "Hey, these cars should move out of the way. They should unlap themselves." And then Chris or whomever comes on the radio and says, "No, they're not going to allow them to unlap themselves." And then a little bit later, then it says, "Okay, yeah, they're going to
But
move
that's
out of
the
the way."
problem, right?
Yeah,
They took too long to the
way too
side
long. Way
to
too
to
long.
let them unlap, and then they're like, "Oh, not gonna unlap." And then they find this meeting the middle solution that is not a solution because it's not on the rules.
Yeah,
You either let everyone unlap, or nobody unlaps.
yeah,
Like there's like only 4 cars. It's bullshit, right?
yeah.
Which that's where it bothers me, right?
Yeah,
Because if
yeah,
there
it's
is
changing their mind
yeah,
halfway
but
through.
it's
Yep.
the legalese, right? There's probably a sentence somewhere that covers Michael Mass's ass, but it's so up for interpretation that they need to harden that.
So
It's black and white.
I think so the thing I saw floating around on Twitter was that it says any unlapped cars can unlap themselves. So any ANY. So then the argument was, well, any doesn't mean the same thing as all. And that's what Red Bull is saying. Well, that yeah, just because it says any doesn't mean it has to be all of them.
Right.
And that's also what it seems like the FIA decided as well, that they can choose who that rule applies to, which is just crazy when
That's
you think
that's
about it.
it's utter bullshit because the entire season they have been now stretching the rules, and I'm not saying favor here and there. It's they're just like stretching the rules. And
Yeah,
that's what I don't like because it opens up precedent. So they need to fucking change the rules. Not only this one but a lot. Like there can be no margin for interpretation for next season. And quite honestly, and Jason, I've been saying this the entire time since we've met, right? I never cared for Hamilton, but I do not care more. If that's a way to say.
you care
I
less.
yeah yeah I care less about Max Verstappen. However, whoever whoever wins that championship, I would be okay. They deserved, but the way it ended. Now,
Yeah,
what is the problem? Max definitely did because like it's the entire season, right? And he's definitely
definitely
deserved winning that championship. But
great season. Yeah,
the way it ended is the problem.
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
way it ended, puts a black mark.
The team put him in position to be there
Yep.
throughout the whole year, but then also in this particular race, his team was making the correct calls, right? I mean, they made the best of. Now it was Max's mistake in qualifying that put them on the soft tires.
Yep.
The hypersoft, is that right? It was C5 was hypersoft. Is that
Hypersoft, I
right?
think so.
Yeah.
Super soft.
That was super,
That's
ultra,
right. Yeah.
and then hyper, I think. Uh, somebody mentioned those super wet tires or something like that. Anyway, so
Yeah.
they put them on the hypersofts, and they make the best of a bad situation, which was they just have to push what they can in the first stint, and then when the opportunity arose for them to try to put some pressure on
Right.
Lewis, which was undercut as much as you could, and then VSC, make sure that you come in next safety car, you come in again. That they had the right strategy, they put him there.
Yeah, and
And
I just think the last safety car was timing problem, right? Because it's luck of the draw where you are on the track.
yeah,
That
yeah.
sucked, right? Because there's nothing Mercedes could have done there.
I mean, they could have pitted, right? They could have
then it would get a penalty, right?
Oh no, I mean, I see, but I think he may have had actually time to jump into the
But they're
pits,
not that
or
fast. They're
or
not that
as
fast to make a decision.
or if it because Red Bull has to make the decision for them. They have to be told what to do. Or again, they could have waited until as the safety car was ending to pit in. Yeah, you lose a little bit more time, but at least you wouldn't be at such a disadvantage on the tires at the end. So I'm with you that I would have been okay if it had played out in a normal way, which would have been that Mercedes they pay the price for not pitting, right? That they
And
had an
even like
opportunity and they
let's
missed
do
it for
the
whatever
let's do
reason.
the other way, right? Let's say they not allow the cars to unlap. People will be complaining. Right? Let's say they let everyone unlap and finish the race on safety car. Like the other half would
Yeah,
be complaining.
yeah,
So it was a lose-lose. I think FIA, like if Michael Messi is concerned about auto racing, he should have red flagged that race to
motor
give
race. Yeah, motor race.
to give drivers 4 laps or something like that to finish the championship. It's just
So do we agree? We agree. Red flag is the correct call in
I would
that. And
I
it's
would assume so because they are not afraid of red flagging. Like
yeah,
they have red flag for less than that.
yeah.
So
And again, it would have made sense. You red flag and say, hey, we want to give fans at least a couple of laps. Like ending under
yeah,
the safety car. I think, although bad, I think people would have been, or at least you've been accepting that. Okay, that's just how the race played out. Yeah, it was terrible that they didn't do something, but ending under safety car is just the circumstances of Latifi, putting it in the wall.
no, especially because you sound like a hypocrite. Oh, we want motor racing. Oh, but let's just give one lap. Fucking red flag the race.
Yeah,
Clean
yeah.
the track, and let them fight for 4 laps. 4 laps would have been way more
Oh
entertaining
yeah.
than
Oh yeah, it would have been
one lap.
awesome. And they both would have been on new tires, right? They both would have been on probably
Soft or something.
the hypersofts. So red flag at the top, end under safety car somewhere in the middle. Then probably below that would be just allow
I wonder if VSC.
allow the
I
cars
wonder.
to unlap.
I wonder if VSC would play, but they only reduce 40%, so you probably wouldn't be enough. Yeah, but I think again, red flag, safety car with not unlapping, safety car with unlapping. That's it. Like anything but what they did.
Okay.
Anything
Yeah.
but what they did. And
what they did was completely
yeah,
wrong.
and then no, Max crosses the finish line, and they open up the radio. I wanted to fucking vomit. Did you hear who was the first one who went on the radio and congratulated Max?
No, who was that?
Albon. Like,
Yes.
woo, Max, I can't believe it. It's like, what the fuck, man? You're leaving
Who?
the fucking team.
Yeah,
Why are
yeah.
you kissing his ass? You know, what a fucking
I,
pussy.
you actually, you and I, we could have recorded this earlier, but I had to take a shower right after this race because you just felt gross just
Dirty.
watching this whole thing play out, knowing that that is your champion, knowing that you, LK, have picked and pulled for Max this entire year, and then you get to celebrate this championship for so long. That it's disgusting. It's
It is.
disgusting.
It is. I I don't even know what to say. You know,
Credit to you for making that call. I mean, you predicted Max as your champion. You
I pred-
celebrated it.
I predicted. I predict champions. That's my problem.
That's what you do.
I predict champions. So once a year, I'm right. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not the result I want, but you know,
But who did you pick to? You didn't pick
I
him to
picked
win the
Max
race,
here.
though.
Yeah,
Oh, did you?
Max
The
Perez,
race?
Hamilton. Yep.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. You thought Hamilton was going to be out. Was going to DNF, right? Yeah.
See, like I asked for chaos, but not in the end of the race. I wanted chaos in the beginning of the race. That would have been better for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I think the scenario you laid out was like one of them having to battle back
Yep.
from
Yep.
accident or something to win it. Yeah, that would have been cool. But
It's just such
no,
a. Imagine you beat Lewis like up until lap 52, 53.
yeah,
You're like, I'm a champion.
yep.
You know, and then all of a sudden, Latifi, Latifi,
Let TV.
Latifi.
I mean, but again, like we can play the what if. What if Lewis had an actual teammate,
Yeah.
like somebody that could have qualified better than what
So
he's sixth or something,
yeah,
like somebody that could have put pressure on Max.
they start the race. I went on my phone to tweet. Like a half lap after they start, I look up. Bottas already eighth or ninth.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Or he fell
you're
back
going
too.
backwards. And then to make things worse, Russell, who started in 15th, went all the way down to 20th. It's like even the replacement's not doing well. You know, like what's going on here? You know,
Oh, yeah, but he ended up having
I
a
know he has a lot of problems,
yeah, and
but
he's in a crap
yeah.
car. Jeez. Uh,
So, what's your overall sentiment, or whatever closing words you have for this?
this definitely makes it harder for Lewis to get championship number 10. It means he's going to have to extend out his contract a little bit. I I guess at the end of the day, you just have to live with it, as crappy as it is. It was a fun season to watch, right? And so even though it's felt such a sour taste here at the end of a manufactured result, a manufactured ending, even because I keep trying to justify, like, why is this okay? Because you could say that, well, because Mercedes did not have a pit strategy, they were in such a position at the end. Because if they had a real pit strategy, they would have been on better tires, and you saw how well Lewis did
Well, not only
for
that,
half a lap. I mean, if he
if
had better tires, maybe he could have held him
not
off.
only that, if had he stayed out and not pitted after um, Verstappen, he wouldn't have that fight with Checo later in the race. They would be in separate, you know, um,
It's true. Yeah,
parts
yeah,
of
yeah.
the circuit.
Yeah, that's another great point. They could have avoided that duel altogether. Um, so just a comedy of errors from Mercedes. But again, at least Max, he won a bunch of races. He won a bunch of poles. Like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's.
you don't feel like it was stolen from that sense. Like
I mean,
both
so
guys are
let's say
deserving from
you fell as
performance.
let's say you fell asleep last night and you wake up Monday morning, only look at the results, right? Nothing else. You
Yeah.
would say deserved.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
deserved. Like,
You line up the numbers, you say, yeah,
yeah,
he had the most
deserved.
wins,
Yeah,
he had a bunch of
deserved.
polls.
As
Yeah.
would be Hamilton. Like the problem is the last 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah.
And FIA's interference of the race. But in terms of deserving, it's not like I feel like Max doesn't deserve it, even though I don't like him. I could argue I don't think he deserves for other reasons, but pure technical aspects, yeah, he deserves it. That's it. And I've I've read on Twitter some people saying that Hamilton is asking Mercedes to not appeal. Very class act from Hamilton, and that
Yeah.
worries me that he's about to retire, if not this season, next one, because he's
Yeah.
the master of the arrogance and assholes, right? So if he's doing this, I think he's approaching the end.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. He is, and you can tell the difference between both of their post race comments. I mean, certainly, very different emotions that they're having there,
right.
but Lewis, very conciliatory, very and okay at that point, and just the way that he got his point across was so much better than Max, because you could tell
Yep.
Max could barely form words, which I don't know how well he can talk normally, but you could tell, like, he too much going through his head, and he's just a race car driver, whereas Lewis, you
Yeah.
can see there's a little bit more to him.
Oh, he's definitely more polished, and I think hats off to Lewis,
100%.
because if it was me, I wouldn't not even go to the podium. I know
Yeah.
they are mandated to do it, but I wouldn't have talked to anyone or nor going to the podium, because like I would be bullshit, you know.
And that's one of the, like,
Yeah, kudos to him for doing that.
but certainly not Lewis. I can't find anything that Lewis did wrong.
No, absolutely not. He was carrying that team. If he won
Yeah.
that championship, it would be on him. Like it would be the first in this past 7 years that I would have said, yeah,
Yeah.
Lewis won.
And the
You know?
only thing I have against Max in the race is that move at the beginning, the what is it, turn 5 or whatever.
Yep.
That's the only thing, the only real misstep I think that he had. The rest of the race, again, just dealing with what they had and doing what he had to do. So, fighting back, even when they could have quit, and because you kind of heard a little bit of, kind of, when you listen to the radio, they're kind of like, yeah, all right, this is just how it's going to shape up, and the other car is just way too fast, but just not giving up, and fighting until the end. They needed a miracle, and Michael Massey delivered that miracle.
Yeah, they got it. Hopefully, Michael Massey won't be back next season, but who knows?
Yeah,
is it too early or too late to write a letter to Santa Claus? Do I still have time?
I think, does somebody have like a change.org petition going or something?
Yeah. Oh, I signed already. You guys should sign
it.
Of course. Of course I did.
Imagine the malware you just put on your computer when you did that. That was great.
Yeah, I even donated. I put my credit card there.
with the code on the back and everything.
Yep. Anyway, I think we'll come back to talk more about the race and everything else. But I think
Kelly
and make sure we wrap up the season properly, or at least wrap up this race properly. We just wanted to do a quick reaction now on the day of what happened, because the emotions are high, and we thought it would be a good idea.
Well, emotions are, except for Kimi Räikkönen,
Correct.
Who had no emotion.
Zero.
Like, you could tell, like, he just didn't care
less. No.
He couldn't care less.
No, he's done. He probably didn't even see what happened. He left the track before.
Yeah. Oh, and the thing is, like, probably before the race, he's like, guys, I'm about to go make, whatever, $2 million, and peace out after this. All right.
Fuck off. Kindly fuck off.
The drink is the drink working.
Some classics there.
All right. Yeah, we'll be back with a full episode, break down all the great points of the race. What are you gonna do tomorrow? Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. All right.
Cool.
Bye.